Welcome to Compression, the quest to $100 million in just 1 year. Join me, your host, Logan Freeman, in this one-of-a-kind interactive podcast experience where I am on a quest to compress 3 years of achievement and production into 12 months. And no, the answer is not to just work harder. I'm bringing you not only ideas and concepts that are complete at the theoretical level, but they're also effective at the applied level. Look, guys, knowledge is not power. It is potential power. Knowledge plus massive strategic action equals power. We're talking about strategy, systems, accountability, all in real time. This is Compression. Welcome back to the Compression Podcast. I am energized, thriving, and focused today. I always am a little worried on Fridays how I'm going to be at the end of the week, especially on days like today where I'm recording from 10 o'clock in the morning until 2 p.m. and then have meetings afterwards. Why do you do this to yourself, Logan? But I got my Wim Hof breathing going on, feeling good. The lights aren't making me too red. My ears aren't too red. My stress levels are at an all-time low, doing some good things in regards to that. Got chiropractic all taken care of. Garrett, I know you're listening to this. And, Dr. G said, hey, man, I've heard you every Monday for the last 3 weeks talk about how you've missed your chiropractor meeting. And if you missed this week, I was going to give you a call. So, hey, you got me aligned. I'll be back in at the end of the month. We'll keep it rolling. Dr. G, really appreciate you, brother, and everything that you're doing. Got me feeling good. Talked a lot about the parasympathetic nervous system, the vagus nerve, all of these different things that I just went deep in after my meeting with you. And, I've got some Wim Hof breathing. I had a little bit of a cold shower this morning. That's hard to do, but it really lit me up, man. I got that energy going, flowing. Here it is. We're here. It's Friday. We're going to do an interesting episode today. If you listened to the podcast last week, we eclipsed the $50 million mark. And so what we're going to do today is kind of dive into, how we got here and where we're at, and taking a step back and saying, okay, we got 6 more months for the rest of the year. How do you want it to feel? How do you want it to look? What's going well? What's not going well? And Jerome's going to lead this charge for us, as he always does. But I'm very excited about this to kind of take a radical, transparent look at everything I've got going on and staying true to you guys and staying true to myself, and so here we go. Jerome, where you want to start at, man? I am all yours today. I have no agenda to push on anything.
You always have an angle, but it's all good, man. So the first question is, back in November, you called, you're like, hey, man, why don't you go on this journey with me? It's like, you sure? You're like, well, I don't know. I'm talking to another guy, and he said he wants whatever he wants. And I was like, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Yeah, I guess if you're worth it, right? But, when you think about Logan in November of last year, I don't know how many doors you were at that point. I don't know, what was in the pipeline from a
Yeah.
transaction standpoint and so on and so forth. And you think about the past 6 months. What do you think?
Well, I think I'm impressed. I feel good about it. I'm always my worst self-critic, right? But what stands out to me from a positive is, getting some leverage in our business and the people that are now involved. We're 9 strong at FTW Investments, and I'm very excited about continuing to add to those numbers. But I think that for me, when I think back where I was November, dude, it's so much growth. It's growth, and it's also control of my own discipline in regards to my mental health. And I know that word has been thrown out there so much. I knew I was going to charge hard. I knew I was going to be pushing on every facet that I could. I knew it was going to be tough. But the last 6 months, I think I've done a really good job of, understanding where I'm at from a stress level standpoint, taking some serious radical changes and implementing them and feeling really good right now in regards to my health, kind of the direction and the stress levels that we've got. Man, I know I dubbed this year as the year of health. I haven't lost a bunch of weight per se. I don't know. I haven't jumped on the scale, but I feel more energized. I feel sustainable. I've got tools that I can pull out. And part of that is applying leverage through hiring the right people that can take things off of my plate. And we talked a lot about that back in December and January and February. Still not where I want to be, but feel so much better about that. And then my confidence levels, right? I mean, the confidence is, I think, a huge thing that has changed, increased. I've put this confidence in the bank, and the cookie jar is just so much more full. I feel like, man, I can dip in to this cookie jar, and I've got a tool, I've got a model, I've got someone like you, my wife, that I can talk to, and I'm willing to do it. The things that, so I'll pause there. We'll pause there. I've got some negatives that I want to get into as well, but I think that the question was how I'm feeling about the last 6 months. So we'll pause there unless you want me to go into the next tenant.
Well, we'll go there, but you said impress. 6 months ago, you wouldn't have said that.
Right.
Like that, you would have been talking about whatever the next thing is.
That's
There would
right.
have been no appreciation for what has happened. I'm not done yet. I gotta keep going,
That's
right?
right.
And you're in a totally different headspace, right?
Yes.
And that, I think that leads to the mental health,
Yes.
right? I was having a conversation this morning and the gentleman was telling me like, I feel like I need to be doing something. I was like, but wait, like, what if you don't,
Yeah.
right? What if you don't do it right now? Like, is it going to make any difference in your world? Or if it takes another day or 2 days or 2 weeks. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be urgent or intentional,
Sure.
but create these constructs that can eventually become crushing, and
Mm,
then we don't enjoy the journey because we're after it. We're
right.
going, and we don't actually see what's happening as we're creating and evolving. And so, before we go down this path of what you call losses, what's been top 5 wins? And you don't have it written down because we decided we are going to do this at the beginning.
Yeah.
What are the top 5 wins over the last 6 months?
Okay. Well, in no order, from 1 to 5, because I'm on Tim Grover's model of everything is number one right now. So his chapters in his book are all labeled number one. I think that is hilarious, and I'm gonna steal that from him right now. So no specific order. My faith life, man. Being able to get in silence, embrace it, and I actually crave it now. I crave getting into a headspace that allows me to just be and be there. I'm still learning this meditation thing, and I'm a more active meditator, I think, than any, sitting there and just, doing it. But I've realized if I can slow down throughout the week, and I've built this in every single Wednesday now, it has increased my ability to let go, to surrender, and to be just who I am and accept that. And that's, I think, your point there is that you made is I'm able to celebrate some successes. I'm able to make life feel like and look like art instead of just a competition every single day. And there's some conflicting ideas there, and I'm sure Tim Grover would have his own ideas about that, but that's a huge win for me, man. I mean, it really is. And a lot of that is the time that I spend working on my faith and my meditation and my breathing, and all of that. So that's one. Second one is my relationship with Taylor. You know, I used to just kind of not run from conflict, but not engage it. And I would let it sit there and fester and turn into something bigger. I actually would forget about it because I'm a male and I move on very, very quickly and I don't think about things. She does not. She will run it through her head 1,000 times and go in the worst place possible. So instead of letting that happen, I've said, okay, well, let me sit down. I know I got 1,000 things to do. This is my most important thing right now. And let me fix this. Not fix, let me listen to this and let me hear this and let me feel this and be empathetic. That has made leaps and bounds in our relationship together, which just then leads to more energy and more drive and more inspiration, which is super exciting for me. The third one, man, has to be the leverage in the business, utilizing, thinking differently, utilizing other people, getting things off of my plate, ability to scale, take some deals full cycle, get on top of the operations, really, really dive into that. Last December, you and I had a couple conversations about, hey, this is the inflection point and we've got to take care of this. And that's been such a big focus. And I feel so much better about that part of it. We are not where we need to be, but is any operator where they need to be? I don't know, but we are striving. We are where energy goes, focus flows. We are focused on it. We are putting energy to it, and we're reaping some of the rewards for that. So that's the third one. Fourth one's got to be my health, man. It has to be the ability for me now to realize heart's going, stop, sit, breathe, think differently, change your physiology, change your focus, change your language, change something, get out of this space. I read a quote from James Clear on his newsletter earlier this week. He said, instead of looking at the day as a kind of a one size fits all, or not one size fits all, one period in the game, break it up into four. Even if something happens in your first quarter that really throws you off, guess what? You can pick it up in the second or the third or the fourth quarter. If it happens in the third quarter, you still got the fourth quarter. Break your days up that way. Don't chalk them up to a loss. Turn it around and deal with it right then and there. So that's been my fourth one, man. I feel good in regards to my energy. I probably look a little differently if you guys are watching the shows. I think that my face is thinning out just a little bit, which is good. Means my clothes are fitting okay. My body's definitely changing. I'm getting older, guys. I'm 31 and feeling feeling a little bit older than that. But at the end of the day, my health feels really good. I had that x-ray at the chiropractor, and man, I was worried about how my body was, and it's in a lot better shape than I thought. I got my physical coming up in August. He'll really tell me what's going on in my body. But man, that's so important, is energy and sustainability. And my wife, multiple times, Taylor, has said, you're a big guy. You got to take care of it. I don't want to do this life without you. I need you. And when you have that type of focus from your health, I tell you what, it's a big one. And then that culture has been ingrained in FTW. Three of the four people, three of the folks at FTW have done 75 hard this week, this year. I mean, it's just fun to have that focus on your health, and that's super important. Last one, I've got to say, man, I think that the last one's kind of a toss-up for me, but it has to be enjoying the space that I am in. I have created spaces that inspire me, right? I like look forward to getting to work, and I've made it easy with my cameras, with my screens, with my lights, with my two offices. I'm building a podcast studio at our new office. I've made it inspiring, and I've said, hey, I want to level up how I feel when I am working and in the space that I am working in, to be inspired in that space. So that's probably the last one that I would say. That's five. I could keep going, but we'll stick with those five, man.
No, I think those are amazing, and it shows where you are mentally, because none of these things were what you were talking about in November. I mean, I remember when you went in the cave back in February,
Yep.
right? And you had COVID and all this other stuff, so the timing lined up pretty well. But it wasn't how are we going to get more people in. It's what am I going to do to fix this and
Yep.
grow it and control the choke points and take the mountain. It was, and Naval Ravikant showed up and we started talking about leverage and just continue to go down the path. So
Yep.
this is awesome. And you know, I think in the growth, it's easy to forget about the wife and the kids, right? But
Yes.
you took time off for the first time and you guys took Bella out, and Z-Man's growing and pulling up and he's gonna be running soon. You're
Oh
gonna be in
yeah.
trouble, brother. But those things are easy to forget about when you're trying to acquire and grow and conquer. And you've made sure that you've built the business around your life and not
Right.
the life around the business. Okay, so there was one thing that came up. You ended up being emotional in that period just because I think it made you be a little more reflective, and that was the death of um, what's his name?
Yep.
Parker's buddy,
That's right.
right? And so, what now we're looking back on it, maybe a month, 6 weeks later. I mean, what takeaways do you have from, the fragility of life, if
Yeah.
that's a word?
It is a great question. One that I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about directly, but now that you asked the question, I think that what it's done is helped even I guess it would be exclaim the priorities. And for me, letting go of little things. Okay. I was really tough, like really tough on myself from November to probably end of March, maybe even last month, in April. But at the end of the day, I'm able to get past little things and not hold grudges because you never know what's going to happen with somebody. And so I'm trying to think about this in a way that is non-judgmental. Man, my eyes have been opened the last 15 months just from a worldview standpoint and perspective, which needed to happen, but also in regards to the people that I'm with every single day. I just don't put as much energy towards unfulfilling things that I used to. And I'm like, you know what? It'll work itself out. Time is the best antidote to all of this. But me sitting here, running it through my head, trying to figure out what I'm going to say, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to affect it. I got no control over a lot of that stuff. So I was getting out of my circle of, or my locus of control, and I was in my locus of concern a lot. And when that happened, it really kind of accentuated the fact that you got to give people, you got to love more, you got to be around people that are inspiring and focus on looking at the positive instead of the negative here. And so that just put that in perspective of how fast everything can change and how fast it can be gone, and allowed me to be in the moment more. Jerome, I was able to just step back and say, I'm here right now. This is what I'm doing. And I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to try to be non-judgmental. And I've made huge strides on that. And that feels very, very good, because that was one of my big focuses from a virtue standpoint.
Be where your feet are, be
That's right.
present. Okay, so you'll get a kick out of this question because you never think about it. What's been easier than what you expected?
Oh man, what's been easier? That's a good question. I don't think about that. I would say, I was a little worried about my morning routine, and not being able to sustain getting up at 4 a.m. And that has been so easy for me this year. I almost look forward to getting up. Like, who says that? It's 4 in the morning. I don't The alarm is almost unnecessary now. I get up inspired. I have gotten a routine that allows me to look forward to the next day. That has been easier. I did not know if I was going to be able to sustain that. And that has been so easy for me, and it's coming almost naturally now, which, I didn't think was going to be the case. And so I have to say, morning routine and looking forward to the next day has been so much easier than I expected it to be, with all of the things that I was trying to accomplish this year.
Okay, and you've changed the morning routine
Oh yeah.
in the same stance. So, I mean, let's talk a little bit about the changes to the morning routine. And I suspect there's probably a little anxiety with some of the changes before they happen. And so, what has been kind of the result of making that adjustment?
When I went in the cave back in February, I was trying to figure out how to get more productive. And I put this poll out to the LinkedIn family, and only a few people knew that I was being facetious, I think, a little bit. But is being effective or efficient more important? And for 6 years, I've tried to be super efficient, and that's fine, I suppose, but you have to be focused on the right things. And so the morning routine, going back into my productivity in February, got me 35 to 40 minutes out of a journal that I didn't need to be doing. And I'm not going to say nobody needs to do it. If you do not have the structure and the way to think about your days, then you do need that stuff. But I stopped spending 40 minutes writing the same thing down every single day to the same answers to the same questions and looking at my schedule. All I needed to do was put it on Monday, which is a productivity system, and put it on my calendar and use one journal that inspires me from a quarterly, monthly, weekly standpoint. And dude, I tell you what, it has been a game changer for me in my morning routines. It allows me to get in the books more. It allows me to do my breathing exercises. I've found things that have created much more energy, and the ROI on them is tenfold than when I was spending time in Brendan Burchard's high performance planner for 40 minutes every single day. And it was actually stressing me out trying to get it filled out, not filling it out, and then actually looking through my meetings and saying, what's the worst thing can happen in each one of them? That actually created more anxiety in my life that was not productive than it was bringing me any type of return on investment. So changed up that morning routine. I don't do that journal anymore. I've got my habits here. I know them. I'm here. I'm looking at it. It's always open right here on my desk, but not spending 40 minutes on a journal. Taylor said, why do you keep doing that? Why do you keep doing that? I was like, because I've done it that way my whole life. That's the only way to do it. Well, that's the fixed mindset, Logan, creeping in. And so I checked myself about 6 weeks ago, and man, it's been a game changer. So that's been the change up that has provided so much more energy and excitement for my days.
So you made that change, but you didn't get rid of it. I mean, you've made some productivity changes, and so you moved to stuff going on the calendar and so on and so forth. So walk through how that change in visibility has maybe led to some more efficiency,
Yeah,
dare I say?
absolutely, man. Well, I hit on one of the points is, going through every single meeting when you have 12 of them in a day took time. It actually took my energy to think through all of those. I look at them. I know they're there. If I don't know the person, then I'm making sure I look them up who they are before. But I was spending so much mental energy and juice to that it was just getting tired. And I was getting stressed out before the day even started. Removing that aspect has allowed me to focus more on profit producing activities, which is reading, which is making sure I've got my top 3 for every single day. But I didn't stop necessarily doing the journal. I just changed how it's being implemented. That has created much more mental energy, which I can now go focus on better and more high quality things, which is been the most productive out of all of those. And the efficiency has gone through the roof. The other thing that I did on that front was I stopped checking email every 10 minutes. And that's been a game changer as well, is I turn those notifications off. I stop checking it every 10 minutes. And when I'm doing something, I'm doing that and that alone. And that has allowed me to not live outside of the moment that I'm in again. So those two things I think were the biggest takeaways from that change, man.
Yeah, but you can't leave out delegating, right? Your
Right.
ability to delegate because of the raised visibility. So talk about maybe what should be your biggest surprise with delegation, right? Because initially we always think, well, I'm the only one that can do that, right?
Oh,
And I'm the only
totally.
one that can do it that good.
Yes. So delegation, big part of the delegation for me was getting things scheduled. I have so many things to get scheduled, meetings that need to be scheduled, people that don't want to use the Calendly links. Being able to get that off of my plate onto Monday and not be focused on it all the time has done two things. One, giving me hours back, but two, the ones that don't get scheduled actually didn't need to be scheduled. and boom, there is the success factor right there. It was not taking time for things that did not need to be on my schedule. And if they don't get scheduled, then they don't get scheduled, and I was, so control freak about having all of those things on the schedule, getting it done and taking care of it, that, it was taking time for me to actually get it scheduled. And then I was having meetings that I didn't need to be having. And so that was huge, man. So I delegated that part. And then I also delegated having the first calls with investors, man. The action plan has been a game changer. So people go through the action plan, they get the recording, they get the document. By the time that we have the call, it's either one, they don't have the call, or two, I want to learn more. And I've already gone through this training and listened to 5 podcasts, and I already know who you are. And boom, the trust level with those calls, the ROI on those calls have gone through the roof. And that's being very, very successful and have been an awesome thing to delegate. So having the people, but also having that evergreen process of when investors come in, this is where you go, this is where you start, go through the training, then you get a call with me. And that was huge. The last thing I did, man, was I only do calls on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and they're specific times. They're lined up. I batch them. I know they're coming. I prepare for them, and I stay in the same mental headspace for all of those calls. And I just get on a roll. I'm much more productive, and the calls go so much better. So I've delegated time to certain aspects of my business as well, and able to batch those, man. You were telling me, dude, you got to stop going to all of those places and meeting all those people. Well, guess what? People come to me now. People meet at the rail line now. Hey, 2 to 4 on Fridays, you know where I'm going to be. You want to get in, book it on the calendar. It might be 3 weeks out, but we'll get it on there and I'll be there. You want to have a call? Got 15-minute slots on Tuesdays, Thursdays from 10 to 2. Let's go. Here it is. Go through the training first. I'm training that, the people around my life. And this comes back to Oren Claff's pitch anything, but respect your time. And you've done this for a long time, but respect that time. If you're going to grab an hour and cancel on me 5 minutes beforehand, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Now, legitimate reasons do come up, but it's the 3rd, 4th time you tried to schedule with me. Game over. So I stopped running my tail all over town. This is where I'm at. This is what we're doing. We've got a monthly larger networking event. If you want to come meet, let's do it at the event with 15 other people that want to meet at that time. And I'll just go from one to the other. So batching has been a game changer for me, man.
Batch like a boss.
Yes. That's compression right there in action.
This is insane. I can't wait to go back and listen to this one. Okay. So biggest surprise last 6 months.
Biggest surprise last 6 months. Woo! I'll say this. The biggest surprise for me is when we started hiring people, I originally thought it was going to take more of my time. It has taken less of my time. We've got self-starters, we've got people, we've got processes. It's moving, it's a machine, it's going, and boom. That has been huge. I had this big anxiety around when I started bringing people in that, holy cow, it's going to take so much more time for you. Yeah, up front, it did. But now I've got the right people in the right seats. They don't need me every single minute of every single day. Huge surprise for me, and a very enlightening one, which is very exciting as well. So that would be the biggest surprise, man. The people that we brought on, I have not had to spend as much time as I thought they were going to, and they've been much more, successful than I originally kind of accounted to as well. So there you go.
Wow. That's pleasant right there, man. Okay, so what's been your biggest frustration?
This dang market that we're in.
Tell me more.
The biggest frustration was deals were just getting done last year, baby. Boom, 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 boom. And it's because we didn't have as much competition. So the work that we have to do now, because we have not changed our underwriting standards, to get one deal is tenfold from what it was last year. So we've had to get more creative. We've had to get, we've had to increase the deal velocity. We've had to hire for somebody to handle all of the analysis up front. I've got an intern at the office right now looking at every on-market deal, making sure we know things aren't slipping through the cracks. So that's been one of the biggest frustrations. The other one, and that's more on the business side, more on the personal side. I think the biggest frustration with what I'm, kind of going through is, crucial conversations are important for any business, but I've shied away from some crucial conversations in the moment because I like to, and I don't know if this is a frustration or not, but it's something that I've got on my heart, and it's, instead of expressing my opinions or the way that I think about something when I disagree, I've been taking a lot of time to go back and assess the situation, look at it from all perspectives, and then go. But that's also caused me not to be as not upfront, but as confident in some certain conversations that I would like to have. And that's probably my biggest frustration with myself is not sticking my nose in and just holding my ground. I don't know. I don't know if there's something there or not, but that's been a big frustration for me. And it usually doesn't really turn into long lasting frustration. But when I look at myself holistically, I like to be a little more direct, and this is the way it is, and it's going to be that way. I just don't know if that's my personality or not, or if it's me just shying away from conflict. That's been my biggest frustration thus far.
We'll talk about that on another call.
Yeah.
That's interesting. There's more there, but we're not going to dive today. All right. So let's talk about the losses. What's the biggest loss?
Biggest loss, man. I'm gonna have to really rack myself for finding one of these. Yeah,
Good,
I'm gonna have to think deep.
because that's not what you would have done 6 months ago. You would
Yeah.
have gave me five, and then I was like, all right, so Logan, what do you like? I need to think about that.
Yeah. I'd say, man, biggest loss for me up to this point. Oh. You guys hear the struggle here. I don't know. I'm trying to think through my, personal life, my professional life, my health life, my faith life, and what a biggest loss for me would be. Jerome, I don't have an answer, man. I thought I did, but maybe it was the biggest frustration is my biggest loss. Maybe is the one thing that keeps coming back to mind is this point of either shying away or maybe trying to be more holistic about it. That's got to be that's the only thing that comes to mind. I mean, you've been with me every week for 8 months now. What am I missing?
I figured you were going to say something about COVID, but that turned into a win because you learned so much in that period.
Yeah.
Um, I really thought that's where you're going to go. There's been a few weeks where you're disappointed for not being as patient as you wanted to be with Taylor,
Yeah.
or, being tired, or not as energetic as you wanted to be. You were missing your
Yeah,
workout, that kind of
that's
stuff.
you hit it on the head. I think being the guy that is so focused on this business, I get so excited about it that I've lost a little bit of interest in interesting things to other people. How about that? That would be my biggest loss, is not being as curious with what's going on with the people around me. So biggest loss is being so focused on the business, so focused on growth and getting better, that I have not taken a genuine curiosity in the closest people around me. There it is. You pulled it out of me. I need to be more curious, less focused on myself, more curious about what other people are doing, and ask those questions, because I have little patience for things that, especially during the days that don't benefit what we're trying to accomplish. And I could step back and take a little more genuine curiosity in other people. That's a great
Why
one.
are we talking about that? Who thinks about that stuff? I can imagine how that conversation. Are you serious? Like, is that something you're thinking about in the middle of the day? What about these units over
Right.
here? What about these residents?
What
What
are we
about
doing?
this raise we're doing in house? Like, what? You're talking about
What are we doing
that?
here? Like, what are we doing? And I've had that impatience has come through multiple times, and people are like, "Hey, man, just take it,
Chill
take a breather, take a breather."
out.
And especially my
Yeah,
wife, I mean,
she's
uh,
there for all of it, though. I
yeah,
mean,
absolutely, man.
it's hard. It's hard, and especially there's a big difference between being an employee and being an employer, and the level of responsibility that you shoulder in that, right?
Yeah,
Sure, as a leader, you have people who are counting on you, but as an owner, the buck stops with you. And if something doesn't go well, or something doesn't go as well as you need it to go,
right,
then something bigger doesn't happen. And you live in a world where you're only as good as your last deal. You're only as good as your
exactly
last
right.
raise. And if any of that doesn't happen, it's a serious step backwards, and people start questioning all the other stuff. And I mean, it's a very slippery slope. And so you've got to be at a peak performance level, and you've got to deliver. And so it's great that you already are a compressor and continuing to, grow into that. It was really cool to see Tim Grover go on these podcasts and start to talk about some of the stuff we've been talking about here over the past few months. That was very serendipitous, and so maybe we need to have him on the
Oh
compression
man,
podcast at some time.
that is a
And
goal. Get him to say, "Hey, you guys took my methodology of a cooler, a closer, and a cleaner and took it up one notch to a compressor, baby." I would love to have Tim on. We'll get him on here.
he's coming. It's going to be a bigger deal. We got to get to the end of the road, and
Yep.
people are going to hear about it and be like, "What? They did what?" Okay.
Right.
And so, we're getting up on time, man. The question that I think you're probably going to go on the longest rant for is the one I saved for close to the end. I hope you got a quote ready, because we need a quote. But, you know, what are you most grateful for?
Man, I am grateful for my health. I am grateful for my family. And I am grateful for the people that I get to spend time with every single day. It is so empowering knowing that you've got a support system. You have people pulling you up that keep you accountable. It is a different life that I live. And life is my playground, but also I got people all from every aspect peering in and saying, "Hey, this is what's going on. This is what I'm seeing." And being open to that, right? Being open to everything and attached to nothing has allowed me to look holistically this year and focus on that sustainability. I am so grateful for you for this podcast that allows me to say, celebrate your wins, slow down for a moment, breathe, get your stress levels under control. I had no idea Dr. G was listening to this every single Monday, worried about my stress levels and if I was going to cancel that meeting or that appointment. Like, who? What are we talking? Like, what? And that is just incredible. I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful that we decided to do this and created this, and it's out there. And 9 months ago, it was nothing, and now it is something. I'm grateful for all of that, and I'm also grateful for living in Kansas City in a market that I can continue to grow a business on, and that I love what I get to do every single day. And that's it, man. That is all of it. And it's right there. I've got mentors saying, "Hey, I want to be a part of what you got going on, but focus on your faith, focus on your family, focus on your fitness. Everything else will take care of itself." And boy, oh boy, that's been a complete perspective shift that if I can get down this year and continue to focus on and work on, the sky is the limit, baby. The sky is the limit, because it's all about sustainability, man. It's all about sustainability.
Yeah, it breaks if it's not built for the duration. I think people can sprint all they want, but this thing's a marathon. If you're going to do it at the highest level, it's a
Yes,
marathon.
absolutely, man.
So where's the quote? I know you got one.
I got
Is
one,
it
baby.
Iggy
Okay.
Azalea this week? Who is it?
Okay. Let me find out who this is from really quickly. So you guys bear with me. This won't take long, but I want to give the quote to the right. I want to attribute the quote to the right place. So give me 1 second. I got to pull up an email from James Clear. Okay, so it is from James. So James is going to be a repeat offender on the podcast, guys. If you don't know who James Clear is, you have to get into his book, his content. He's original. Woo! It is awesome. So his quote, which comes from Brian Adams' meeting this week, reminded me of something I read on the newsletter, but it's this: patience is a competitive advantage. In a surprising number of fields, you can find success if you are simply willing to do the reasonable thing longer than most people. There it is. Do the thing longer than most people. Brian told me, he said, I've got some great mentors, and I know he does, some big time mentors. He said, you know what? This is a weird business. It goes up and it goes down, but everybody who sustained over the last 25 years and has done it the right way is in a really good spot right now. So patience is a competitive advantage. That's the quote this week. Didn't even have to get my handy dandy little yellow book out for our quote, because I knew that was on my heart, and I wanted to express that from the meeting that I had with Brian earlier this week, which he's a rock star, man. So there it is.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Logan, we hopefully we met your expectations for the episode today.
Yes, we
'Cause
did.
this was fun, man.
We
I'm excited for
exceeded.
the journey.
We
Yeah.
exceeded it. You got the one loss out of me that I needed to focus on, that I did not even, it was not in my conscience. Like it just wasn't thinking about it. But with my interactions with people, instead of being so focused on growth, I've got to continue to keep that genuine curiosity in other people's lives. I've always struggled with this, especially when it's my thing and I'm growing it and you're here to help. So I have to be a little more subtle, take a little more curiosity. And I got to pat myself on the back this week, because I did go out to lunch with our director of operations and gave him an awesome hour. He gave me an awesome hour, and we had an incredible conversation. And I had a great meeting with Port KC and a guy over there that's crushing it as well, which is a quasi-government organization here in Kansas City that does real estate development. I did take a genuine curiosity in those two folks. So I do have to give myself a little pat on the back, but with Taylor, with Parker, with Corey, with Jerome, a little more curiosity will go a long way. So anyways, I really appreciate this. Mid-year recap. Thanks for tuning in. 50.6, I believe, is where we're at. Wait till next week. That number will continue to rise, and we will be back next week on another episode of Compression. Thank you, Jerome, for leading us through the mid-year recap, my man.
This was outstanding. Thank you.
Talk soon, guys. Hey, compressors. If something you heard struck you, made you feel a little bit uncomfortable, good. Head on over to compressionpodcast.com. And then you can also subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast at. If you feel inclined to, please leave us a review. It's obviously helpful. But instead, I'm going to call you out today. I'm going to call you out and make sure that you do your part, sharing this message by sharing it with one person that might need to hear what we talked about today. Be great. Nothing else pays.